How's it going, everybody? Kytha here. Welcome back to Pokemon Freedom. It has been a very long time since we've seen this project on the channel. I'm glad to say that we are back and back for good. Now, as you can see, we have three lovely Pokemon in front of us. You may have worked out who the third one is. If you hadn't from the thumbnail, you probably have by now. But I gave a sneak peek in my recent update video about Pidgeot here. And just last night, I have somewhat added in the guy at the back here, who everyone should know as Golduck, who has lazy eyes because I've been messing around with things. We could probably go fix that right now. But anyway, I won't do that now. You will have noticed that this is looking a lot different than what it was when you guys last saw. Even if you just go back and watch the previous episode, none of this existed. This pretty much was put in not long after that the last episode of this went out. If I remember correctly, I still have the little floating block up here. Oh, we're lagging out a little bit. My little test location thing. I even have the test map here of a different one. We won't look at that. Sneak peeks that weren't supposed to be seen. Anyway, we need to just get rid of these guys because they're just the models. I just found out that Pidgeot looks broken, but I'm pretty sure he's fine. But anyway, welcome back. We's back. Now, this series will be going up probably once to twice a month, if I can keep that going. If you watch my update video, you'll also know that this year is going to be pretty hectic for me. So I'm going to try and keep this going as the best as I can. But today's video is just a little update about where everything is and how everything's going to go on ahead with. So I got a little list to the side of me here for like the systems that we need to make. Now, I'm not sure if I had mentioned these earlier in a previous episode or not, so forgive me if I'm repeating a couple of things here, which more likely I will be words. So clearly we have our player controls. The reason I'm going through these again as well is my initial plan was to just go through and put in all the basic systems with just Umbreon, which is a bit of a mistake because the mechanic, well, not mechanic of this game, main mechanic anyway, but a mechanic in the game is you can switch Pokemon not at will, when more or less when you give an opportunity or by force. And that wasn't in the outline for that, so had to rework things. So with that, as you have seen, Pidgeot is our flying Pokemon, Umbreon's our on the ground man, and Golduck, despite that he can actually walk on ground, which is actually helpful, he's mainly for swimming. So each Pokemon will fit into one of those three categories, which I might have to change in case of Golduck's, considering he can go both on land and water. But we'll see, because there'll be some specific cases where water can only stay in water. So I'll probably have to give it another category for that. But anyway, going over our game systems, as I said before, player controllers, or controls, not what I said. The AI, the ability of switching, which I pretty much have working at the moment in a sort of debug state. Questing, interactions, the menu, and then just the three types of the characters, which, as I just said, will probably change to a 4. So we're going to jump in. I don't know if we're on full screen with this or not. When it eventually loads, we shall find out. There we go. Now, one thing I haven't checked is to see whether we're actually recording. Alright, we appear to be, so if it's a little jittery, I apologize. So, Umbreon hasn't changed a lot, and his animations are definitely going to need to be changed. Since I've made Pidgeot's. Pidgeot's is actually the better of the two, or of the three actually. And Golduck was kind of just quickly thrown in just to have him in here so I could do the switching. Anyway, the only thing is attacking. I haven't got it set up for a controller. That's what I'm using at the moment. Anyway, so I can use, well, should be able to use the numbers 1, 2, and 3 to switch between the Pokemon, or I can use the bumpers. So we'll bring in Pidgeot. I'll go through all the code stuff later. He does a little bit of a walk. So the key thing will be with flying Pokemon, they will obviously be able to fly. I just need to zoom out the camera because Pidgeot's wings are just super close to the camera when you do that. At the moment, he's just using the stick to move. Jumping goes up, and just pulling one of the triggers goes down, which I'll probably change in the future. Controls haven't been completely set at the moment, but we're doing alright, and then we can obviously run super fast, fly super fast, which looks a little weird because it's set up to be just double speed. We'll just land. And I got a weird thing, I don't know if it'll show on YouTube, but his wings do a weird thing when they fold in and out, which I will show in a minute. We'll go into more detail about that in a minute. And Golduck. Bam. Once he blinks, he'll probably get out of lazy eyes. There we go. So, you got a bit of a just normal walk, human walk. That's the other reason I chose Golduck, because he's a bit more of a humanoid character, opposed to being a bird and dog. And when he eventually runs, I have his fist closed and he kind of just a bit more of a odd jog. So he's got to change. I recently came across a channel that has a whole bunch of, there we go, super speed, looks super funny. Channel that has all of the generations up to Sun and Moon and their walk cycles from Sun and Moon, as well as run cycles. So take a bit of inspiration from them to get the walking and running cycles, I suppose, animations looking a little bit better. I mean, again, Golduck was just thrown together. Anyway, just quickly jump into Blender, open up Pidgeot. If this will load nicely for me, it probably won't. There we go. So the thing I've done with Pidgeot, as you can just see there, it's better off, where is it? When he actually takes off. So Pidgeot is made, being weird. Pidgeot has his wings. So we've got these ones. Oh, that's not going to work. But we've got just the pre-folded wings as well as his opened wings. So he can actually have folded. So the way that I actually changed the two between here was I scaled these down to 0. Just to scale 0 and they're gone. I won't keep that change, obviously. And that works. That works fine. Blender works perfectly fine. I don't know where the play cycle is. But if you just play it like normal, you know, they just, apart from this weird cycle here, they just, you don't see it. But Unity, however, likes to blend between all of that. So that's why we get, let's just make this super big so that you guys can actually see it. Yeah, if I can click the thing. There we go. Hang on. That's not going to get much better than that. If we go from jump, you'll see that that's the weird thing that happens. Oh, it's the other button here. So yeah, that makes no sense to me why that does that. But anyway, no, I meant the stretching, not the. I know exactly why Unity does the thing it does. And it's just annoying. Can I grab this, drag back down? Thank you. So that's something I have to deal with and try and work out a better way to do that. I've tried a little bit of looking. Nothing's been helpful yet. Anyway, another thing I have is because we don't need that anymore. In our prefabs, we've got, you know, the moves, the Pokemon. Don't know 100% if that was there before. I think moves was. Each Pokemon needs to be able to use as the player as well as an NPC. So they are set up in here with just a box collider, the Pokemon script, a rigid body, the animator, and obviously the transform because that comes by default. Can't get rid of that. Initially, if I still have it here, they had an NPC script on, like I had them as separate things. The dialogue, a nav mesh, or the case of this guy, I think I got rid of them because I merged a whole bunch of things. He's just got the player input script as well. Is he on the top here? Player old might have it. No, I got rid of it. But they had all of these other scripts attached. If we go in Pokemon, I think. So they had a type of status, stats, move as well, base, oh, not base stat, because that's the new thing, and ability. And it was just very bad, very clunky. There was just a lot of stuff on there. So I merged all of these things into a base stat class, which I conveniently have open. I'm smart. And it's just got, enums for the types, all of the different things that for the type setup. These are more for general purposes, those ones, rather than those ones for the actual Pokemon. The effects, the ability list, and then, all the actual HP stats. There we go. I was going to say HP stats, but that's just one of them. So that's all of that. So, in our prefabs, which you may have seen before if I clicked on it, I have a thing here called NPC base. So if we just drag that into a scene, and if we click off of it, it'll close and it'll delete the instance of that and everything. But we can go in here, we can go, I'd like me a Golduck, create NPC. A Golduck gets instantiated, the base NPC prefab that was brought in is deleted. And Golduck has all his normal stuff, as well as the added NPC stuff required to make him an NPC, which is awesome. And then for the player, that works in the player script of a case of just when you will go to switch. We just drag it down to the bottom, which is already here. So this is the one that'll be working for the game when it, proper switching. I just have my debug switch at the moment. Both do pretty much the same thing. Except for this one has a couple of extra things in it that I probably get to port over to here, or just copy it over here. But it's a matter of it just gets, well, this won't actually be here, this line, because the name will be brought in from elsewhere. So we'll use this one instead. Double check that the other one doesn't actually have things that are needed. Yeah, because it's got extra stuff for, apart from that line. This line's not needed. Anyway, I'm rambling. So we have to find the object, or the game object, in our prefabs folder, which is also located in resources. Quickly show that. If you just had it in a prefabs folder, you won't be able to load this way. If you did not know that already, I'm trying to keep this short. Anyway, keep going. I'm getting distracted. So we instantiate the object at the current position, and for whatever reason, as you would have noticed, it does. I think there's another variable somewhere I've got to change, but they they'll instantiate the right direction, but then they rotate always back to facing forwards, and that's world forward. Then I heard a whistle or a squeak, bit of both. So then for that, the next player, as well as I've called it, we need to add an input, a capsule collider, and then we need to get the capsule collider to set up just the height for it and which way it's going, whatnot. It's center, height. I'm all over the place. Give it the actual player tag. We'll give it the tag player. There we go. And we also have to manually swap the camera target, which if we go on here, essentially just grabs the target that the camera looks at and just swaps its parent over. I had it initially, I think that's everything, and then destroyed this object that the script's currently attached to. So the old player. I initially had it so this camera target was on every object, and it just didn't work. The camera script just wouldn't find the new one for whatever reason. So that, okay, I'm gonna just move it. We'll leave it that way. So that's that. That's the basis of switching. Golduck. The talking script, if you remember, the talking script, I didn't mean to jump. I've got the button backwards. This thing, this needs to be changed. Also, I've broken it, so I can still move. I'm just missing a reference somewhere, I think, from when I switch. Oh, he won't let me go. There we go. Not let me go. Did I freeze then? seemed like I froze. Yeah, I'm frozen now because the thing is actually got a reference to me. Interesting. Not sure how that's working. I've just missed something somewhere because I've changed a whole bunch of stuff. Anyway, so that's that. That's gonna be completely redone and make it more visual. Because if you guys remember, oh, that's not an NPC. I need an NPC. It's this horrid thing. This thing. Dialogue. Getting an actual text. A text object. A text file. Knowing where the start end is and its max distance for that's just range of checking and getting the manager. That might be it actually. Unless that grabs it by default. No, it grabs it by default, never mind. And whatnot, so that's just horrid. I don't even remember how it works. So, not good. Not good at all. So, if we zoom out, I might as well show it off. The old test map. If we bring it up, it's ever bad. I made it all one huge thing. So we just drag that back, click off. So if any of you have actually seen the 2D one that I was doing, this layout here is pretty much the same with the exception of this. This didn't happen here. That happened like over further. So a bit of expedition of information of where stuff is. The ruins would have been here, but we'll probably go down here now. And the power plant would go over there. If we were to keep this the way it is, which I'm not 100% sure if we will. But anyway, we shall hide that. We don't need that at the moment. That's a long ways off into the future, that is. So we're just gonna come back here. I could have just hit F. That would have been the smart idea to do. Apparently that's where center of that is. Anyway, other things I want to go through with you was the thing that I closed a while ago before setting up this. The editor, creator, inspector, NPC editor window. There we go. So the custom NPC script stuff is all the same stuff that I've done before. This one, that's the actual script. I've yet to move this over, I think. I'm a little lost, I'll be honest. I gotta find the thing I'm looking for. If I just go into the prefabs, which one is it? Oh, it's NPC creator. I did switch it over. Never mind. That's just an empty script to purely have this window open. So I have an editor script for that. When that runs, it opens up this window, which we show off again. This fancy little thing. If I click off of that, thing deletes. It's all good. So how this works. When it's created, it finds a list of all the Pokemon in our resources folder. And it gets their names, or gets all of them as an object. And it adds them to, eventually, after we've grabbed them all, because I'm all over the place, adds them to a predefined list up here, both as an object and as purely as the name, so they just display up here. So this is more of a reference for me from one to the other. Hitting create NPC, which I won't do, then gets the reference and sets a Pokemon. Because I wrote this a little while ago and don't remember what it does. We're all good. So it instantiates that Pokemon by sending it over to the reference to the object. So it's getting the references in here. I'm not going to speed this along. Not those ones. It is those ones. Never mind, I'm crazy. Grabs them, instantiates them, adds all the NPC stuff required. Changes a couple of things. This is a cool thing. Copy serialized. Allows you to actually copy a nav mesh, or not a mesh, but a component in editor mode. That makes sense. To another game object, from one game object to another. There we go. And it also sets that game object to the currently selected. So now if we actually do the thing, then we've got nav mesh agent here. Drag that in. This time we'll create a Pidgeot. Bam. So Pidgeot has now got all the stuff, including the nav mesh agent that is on here. It's just more or less to get all of the settings right, because a default nav mesh doesn't have these. I won't do that. I'll do it on him. See, his wings are a bit screwed up, but he seems to work fine. Reset that. It's mainly these values here that change, I believe. Yeah. So they're all the ones that are changing. And they need to be set the way that they are. So, unless I've forgotten something, that is mostly everything here. Next time, or in between now and next time, I would like to have my 3 dudes working a bit better. And a bit more fully as well. I don't know if I'll get attacks going in for a while. That it could be a while. Not thinking through my words here. AI is going to be a problem. I have a sort of small idea of how I want it to work. I've always had a small idea of how I wanted it to work. We jump in and talk to this dude. Because currently he just runs in circles. Because that's all I've told him to do. If it's gonna work. There we go. That lag spike was putting in the dome here. But essentially he's just like, I'm gonna stay at this distance away from you. Okay, apparently me being out of that doesn't work. I grabbed the wrong thing. I want that out there so he'll stay there. Will you continue to move people? But yeah, he basically just stays this distance away from me. So if I just move back or closer, he'll actually move. And he just runs in a circle anti-clockwise because he's not a smart cookie. But it was more of a case of I wasn't able to figure out, or back then, how I wanted the battle loop to go. I mean, I had a thing here before it was like determine attack if it's a special or physical, either shoot or go in towards the opponent and then wait for the move to connect, or if it doesn't, pick a new move or have a wait time sort of thing. So I'm looking into that, and I think I'm making this run a bit longer than it should. So I'm gonna wrap it up here, and not too sure what next time will be. That's not even again, I didn't say that before, did I? But yeah, no, I did, because players, yeah, get them set up a bit better, and maybe start doing the text-based stuff and getting that updated and fixed, having it be much better than what it currently is, because it's a piece of crap, to be honest. I don't know how I expect it to be able to work with that. But it'll be interesting. I'll be able to make like a back-end editor thing and either go for a node-based thing if I can, or I'll just keep it in the inspector. Inspector will probably go first, and then I might try to change it to a node-based thing. Node-based, by the way, is basically just something like this, or visual stuff. But anyway, that's going to do it for today, guys. I hope this gets you excited for this coming back. If you guys have any suggestions about things, let me know down below. And I shall see you guys next time. But until then, bye.